Figma just keep updating their AI capabilities, so today I want us to look at all of the image editing AI tools that Figma has to offer. Let's jump in. The first AI tool I want us to look at is Edit Image. Let's say I've got this milkshake and I have it in strawberry, but I want to change it to chocolate or banana. So all I need to do is select it, then click on Edit with Prompt, and then write something. So let's say change the milkshake to be banana flavored. Now it usually takes about 20 seconds to get it done, and then there you go. So you see it's telling me this is how it was and I've changed it to this. I can add more changes, so replace the strawberries on top to bananas. Sometimes it does go the whole way, and sometimes you need to keep kind of tweaking and giving it more and more prompts to get it to do what you want to do. But this is fantastic. Now I can go even further with that. I can change the whole style of the image if I want. So for example, make this look like it's a comic book drawing. I can tell it to do it in different styles. I can ask it to change the lighting setting. I can ask it to add multiple things, change the background, anything. You just really have to type in whatever you want to edit and it will do it for you, which is pretty cool. There you go. Now, as you can see, as I was doing it, it does sit with Gemini 2.5 with Nano Banana, but you can change it to be something else if you want to. Moving on to our second image AI tool, and that is Expand Background. This is so good. I've already used this a bunch of times. Let's say I've got this image and it's really small and I want to make it even bigger. So I can click on More, Expand, and then just pull this out essentially. You can also use the tools here. So if you do that, it kind of keeps the ratio of what it was, or I can select it to be, let's say, a square and then make it bigger. So you can freehand, or you could just use these. Let's say I want to expand it that way. Click OK, and then it's going to think for a second and it is going to just expand it for me. This is similar to like generative fill that we've seen in Photoshop for quite a while. But yeah, look at that. Brilliant. Yeah, so it just put it into a plate. Just a reminder of how it was. I'll Command Z. See, it was like that. So it kind of finished off the plate, gave it the background, and it added like more detail into the background as well. You can see these scratches here and all this marbling. Phenomenal. This also works well on more complex backgrounds. I know that this one's just like expanding the table, but I've used it with people in the background or nature or anything like that. It works really well. Next up is a classic. This was available from the first launch of AI tools in Figma, and that's Remove Background. Let's say I've got this little cupcake, click here, Remove Background. It's gonna think for a second and then it's just gonna do it for us. And again, this is amazing. And what I really love about Remove Background, and I'm kind of missing with the other ones, is that when you remove the background, you get to keep both of the fills. So you can see I've got this layer here and I can just turn it on, turn it off, which means I can add like a layer in between, or I can add in like a text or whatever. It doesn't just completely remove the backgrounded version, you still have that available to you as well. And again, this works on really complex images as well. I actually use this to create my own thumbnails where I remove myself from my background, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Select Section. This one is actually incredible. So let's say I've got this really nice image, but I've got this guy in the background who's really ruining everything. So I can just select area, and then all I need to do is mark around him. So I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna get his shadow. And then I've got two options. I've got erase and I've got isolate. I'm gonna go for erase. It's basically like this or that. So erase is gonna remove him, build on wherever he was to make the image still flow. And isolate is gonna do the opposite. It's gonna take everything else away and just let me have him. It's kind of like a remove background, but I'm almost telling it what I want it to keep. Look at that, it's gorgeous, right? And if I zoom in, you can see there's complete continuity of this wave. It doesn't break anything up. It's not glitchy at all. I did mark his shadow, so it removed all of that as well. And now I have this really beautiful image. Next up is Make an Image. This is one of the most powerful things I think to come out of AI is all of the image generation and video generation tools that we now have. But it's really important to know how to use them correctly to get what you want. So I'm very much from the make it better persuasion of just telling AI to make it better. But recently I decided that I really want to learn how to prompt correctly, especially for making images. And in order to do that, I've been taking Lindsay Marsh's AI for Designer class on Skillshare. I'm still not 100% through it because I got really distracted, and I'll tell you why in a minute. It goes through so much detail in these 8 short lessons, just explains how LLMs even work, what is the difference between the image generation and the language learning models, and then it gets into how to expand our design vocabulary, which is where I got distracted. She basically talks about how we as designers need to expand our language and vocabulary to know how to use prompts better. If we say to AI, make it metallic, it's going to choose from the 5,000 different metallic things that it knows. But if we know to use the terms hammered or oxidized or rusted, then it will create something a lot more interesting and a lot more connected to what we actually wanted. Not only does Skillshare have hundreds, maybe even thousands of classes you can take in many different topics, but it's also a great community space. In almost all of the classes, you get a project that you can do, which means you can actually test your skills. You get resources uploaded onto that so you can use them, and then you can upload them and see what other people have uploaded as well, just to get inspired and feel like you're doing this with a whole bunch of people. Skillshare is very kindly sponsoring this video, and they've provided me with an incredible link to share with you guys. The first 500 people to scan this QR code will get 1 month free on Skillshare. So get going on that. Truly cannot recommend it more. So using the skills I learned in that class, I'm going to prompt Figma AI to create an amazing pumpkin pie image. So she kind of gives the structure of using subject, then style/influence, detail, and then the format medium. So all I need to do is just click here and say, make an image. Let's start with our subject. I want a pumpkin pie. Then what is the style or the influence? I want it in a rustic style, sitting on a gingham tablecloth. Now, if you've been here a while, you know that I do not correct my spelling mistakes. AI should work for me. So I'm not going to correct it. It's going to just have to deal. Detail. So I've already kind of gotten into detail, right? So I want a rustic style, sitting on a gingham tablecloth with bold lighting, render as a product showcase. I'm actually going to use the same that she used, mockup. Let's see how it goes. So because I didn't really select an image, it's just going to render this as its own thing. Figma AI does give us square images always. Oh, I'm amazed by my pumpkin pie. Look at that. Yeah, and it did do what I asked it to do, right? It's on a gingham tablecloth. It's got bold lighting, it's product showcase, and it's realistic and very rustic. You see it kind of added the dried oranges and the cinnamon sticks and the, is that aniseed? I think it's aniseed. It's aniseed. So yeah, it's made it super rustic. Look, even those little, like a leaf. Grand. So because I didn't select an image to start off with, it did render it on its own, and Figma AI renders only square images. Then you can use the expand background to make it not square, but it is what it is. So pretty good. I'm just gonna copy the properties, Command Option C, and then I'll select, I've got like an image in here, Command Option V. So just bring that into there. Wonderful. Next up is boost resolution. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I end up using images from Google just as a placeholder, and their resolution can be pretty bad. Also, when you're getting images from other AI tools and you download them and then insert them into Figma, sometimes their resolution is pretty bad. So this is a great tool. Essentially, you just need to select an image and click boost resolution. Now, if you are selecting an image that's low resolution, a lot of times it's going to suggest that without you even having to click on it. But boom, there you go. It's a lot crisper, a lot cleaner, still not perfect, but it's really good. And again, you get to keep the one from before. So I can actually sometimes go in and ask it to boost it again. Sometimes if it's a really big image, it will stop you and say, can't do it anymore, really sorry. And also the more you boost, the more AI it will get, because it's predicting what is supposed to be there in those missing pixels. So you see here, it is a lot kind of a sharper look, but we can already tell it's a bit AI-like. But still great. Now you might have noticed as I was going through this that we've got this new sort of button in place. It's telling us how many AI credits are being used. Now AI credits are not going to actually be taking into account until March, I think, in Figma, but it might vary according to where you are in the world and what sort of plan you're on. But it's already prepping us for that and telling us how many credits this action would have taken up. So for example, that boost resolution took up 6 AI credits. Do with that what you will. As I said, that class that I took really inspired me and made me realize my design vocabulary is not good. So what I ended up doing is I ended up creating this sort of index of cubes that have different textures and artistic styles on them, just so I have something to look at when I am prompting a design. So I could just look at this and get inspired for how different things look. So for example, in this textile section, I kept thinking of more and more textiles as well as I went along. You can see I've got like crinkled taffeta, brushed mohair, corduroy, denim, flannel, furry, gingham. That's where I got gingham from before. So I've got textiles, then I've got animal patterns and all kinds of leathers and things that are more like natural. Then I've got metals, material and physical textures, synthetic plastics. So all kinds of different types of plastic, or like bubble wrap, cellophane, epoxy resin. Yeah, all of these things that I would never think of. I would just say plastic. Same with all the like iridescent-y materials that I've got here in visual effects. Don't just say iridescent, say holographic or auric. No, I don't know how to say that, but AI will understand what that means. So you've got all of these different things. I would really recommend going through an exercise like this if you are a designer and you use AI to prompt to create images. This took me forever, but I had so much fun doing it. But mainly it took forever because of the cubes, and I wanted all the cubes to look uniform, and I wanted them to follow the specific artistic or textile patterns that I wanted. So maybe I won't recommend creating this cube thing, but I would recommend just speaking to AI, saying, hey, can you list out all the kind of descriptive words I could use to describe metal? And then creating a little Bible for yourself. So next time you are prompting, you're not just using the boring, make it better, make it metal. You are using really specific descriptive words to create very interesting images. We have AI now. There's no turning back. It is going to be used. You know the famous saying, AI is not going to take your job, but people who know how to use AI might take your job. So we need to embrace it and learn how to use it properly and learn it to its advantage. Okay, if we need an image of something really specific, let's learn how to get AI to create that for us. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what other videos you want to see. I'm planning to do a whole series covering all the different AI tools that Figma has to offer. Hopefully, this video isn't completely out of date by the time I post it, because Figma just keep making updates, which we love, but are very hard on creators such as myself. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you at the next one.